the coin's world. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of the 1937 Liberty Wheat Penny, a small copper coin that carries with it incredible stories of America's past, the artistry of coinage, and the excitement of coin collecting. By the end of this video, you'll see why this coin is so special, and how some rare varieties can reach impressive values among collectors. The 1937 Wheat Penny belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the very first U.S. coin to feature a real person, breaking away from symbolic figures like Lady Liberty, designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin's obverse shows a striking portrait of Abraham Lincoln. On the reverse, two stalks of wheat frame the words 1 cent, which is why collectors fondly call it the wheat penny. The year 1937 was a time of recovery for the United States as the nation slowly climbed out of the Great Depression. Coins from this period were essential in everyday life, often circulating heavily through small purchases, groceries, and wages. The penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it its rich brown or reddish appearance. This alloy would remain standard for wheat pennies until World War II, when the 1943 steel penny briefly replaced copper for the war effort. The San Francisco Mint, as each mint left its unique footprint on the coin, making certain mint marks more desirable. The Philadelphia Mint struck the largest number of 1937 cents, making them the most common. Denver and San Francisco issues were produced in lower quantities, giving them extra appeal to collectors. The total mintage for all 1937 pennies exceeded 309 million pieces. While this makes the coin common in circulated condition, high-grade specimens, especially with mint red luster, can command very high values. Collectors are especially drawn to the San Francisco 1937 penny. It had the lowest mintage among the three, although still not a rare coin. Finding it in pristine condition can be challenging. Like other wheat pennies, the 1937 coin reflects the artistry of early 20th century coin design. Brenner's depiction of Lincoln is lifelike yet symbolic, capturing the president's thoughtful gaze. Interestingly, many 1937 wheat pennies are found with a range of natural colorations, from deep brown to vibrant red. The redder the coin, the higher the value, as it indicates less oxidation over time. One of the most thrilling aspects of the 1937 wheat penny is the possibility of discovering mint errors. Collectors always hunt for unusual varieties, as errors can multiply a coin's value. Some coins were struck with off-center errors, where the design is shifted noticeably away from the center. These are popular finds and highly collectible. The 1937 wheat penny reflects a fascinating era in American history. It was struck during the latter years of the Great Depression, a time when every cent carried weight for families struggling to survive. For many, these pennies were more than coins, they were lifelines, used to purchase bread, milk, or basic necessities. Minted in three locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1937 penny offers collectors a wide range of mint-marked varieties. Each mint tells a slightly different story of production, quality, and demand during that year, making the coin's legacy even richer. The obverse of the coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile, symbolized national unity during tough economic times. By 1937, Lincoln's image had already become a powerful emblem of perseverance, justice, and the hope for recovery. The reverse design, known as the wheat ears, represented American agriculture and prosperity. The simple wheat stalks were not just decorative, they were symbolic of the nation's backbone, the farmers and workers who fueled the economy. One of the most exciting aspects for collectors is the existence of mint errors from 1937. Some coins were struck with double dies or off-center impressions, making them extremely valuable today. Such mistakes were rare but are now highly sought-after treasures. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number of 1937 pennies, which makes them the most common. However, well-preserved Philadelphia coins in high grades can still fetch impressive prices in auctions. Denver's 1937 D pennies often appear sharper in strike compared to Philadelphia issues. Collectors often prize the D mint versions for their strong details and durability, especially when found in uncirculated condition. San Francisco's 1937 penny, though produced in smaller numbers than Philadelphia, is not considered rare. Still, pristine specimens are beloved by collectors and hold significant historical and sentimental value. Over the decades, The 1937 penny became a nostalgic keepsake for many Americans. People born that year, or those who grew up in the 1930s, often held onto the coin as a symbol of resilience during hard times. Today, the 1937 Liberty Wheat penny is a popular choice for beginners and advanced numismatists alike. It is both accessible and historically significant, bridging the gap between common circulation coins and valuable collectibles. The coin also reflects technological advances in minting. By 1937, the U.S. Mint had mastered large-scale penny production, yet human errors still slipped through, creating valuable rarities that thrill modern-day treasure hunters. Collectors often compare the 1937 penny to earlier Lincoln cents of the 1910s and 1920s. While earlier issues may be scarcer, the 1937 penny carries a charm of its own because it was minted just before World War II reshaped America. Interestingly, the copper used in these pennies was sourced from multiple 1978, a small yet powerful piece of history that carries with it an incredible story of design, economy, and national identity. Though it may seem ordinary at first glance, this coin has layers of heritage that many collectors overlook, and its story is so engaging that it will make you see this coin in a completely different light. The 1978 5-cent coin belongs to a significant era when many nations were transitioning in their coinage systems, reflecting the challenges of inflation, modernization, and changing cultural values. Coins like the 5 centavo in the Philippines, or the 5 cents in countries like Australia, the United States, or Canada represented much more than their face value. They were the everyday currency of working families, the jingling change in pockets, and the symbol of economic resilience. In a decade of global change. By the late 1970s, the world economy was facing shifts caused by oil crises, rising production costs, and debates about the future of smaller denominations. Yet governments continued to produce coins like the 5-cent piece to maintain balance in the monetary system. In the Philippines, for example, the 5 centimo coin minted in 1978 was part of the second coin series introduced under the Central Bank of the Philippines, designed to create a modern identity for the nation as currency after independence and the earlier changes following World War II. This small bronze coin bore the profile of a Filipino hero on one side, a patriotic reminder that even in everyday transactions, people were carrying a piece of their nation's history in their hands. On the reverse side, the coin featured the official seal of the central bank, a powerful image of stability and trust at a time when economic challenges were mounting. Meanwhile, in countries like Australia, the 1978 5-cent coin featured the iconic echidna design, which had become a beloved image of national pride since the introduction of decimal currency in 1966. The coin was made of copper nickel and, though small, its durability ensured it would circulate for decades. Collectors today often appreciate these coins for their craftsmanship and the fact that they remind us of a simpler time in everyday trade. The American nickel, also valued at 5 cents in 1978, was another fascinating case. The Jefferson nickel design had already been circulating for decades and was widely recognized, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. By 1978, billions had been produced, but sharp-eyed collectors look for unique minting errors, doubled dies, or unusually well-preserved specimens that can fetch much higher values today. In terms of circulation, the 5-cent coin was incredibly important in 1978, whether it was used to buy candy at a corner store, pay for small bus fares, or contribute to larger sums in markets. The coins 1935 has a history so rich, so tied to America's journey through one of the hardest decades in modern history, that it deserves far more attention than it usually gets. And the shocking part is that some of these coins have been known to sell for prices that could truly turn the tables for you if you happen to own one. So stick around, because by the end of this video, not only will you know its story, but you'll also discover how to find out its worth and how to actually sell one if you're lucky enough to have it. The 1935 wheat penny was born in the middle of the Great Depression, a time when millions of Americans were struggling to find work and feed their families. Every cent mattered back then, which gave this small coin a much larger symbolic role than we might imagine today. For many families, pennies weren't just loose change. They were essential building blocks of survival. That makes the 1935 penny more than just a coin. It's a piece of history that represents resilience and hope. This penny continued the design that first appeared in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, the nation's beloved 16th president. On the obverse side, the familiar profile of Lincoln stands as a reminder of honesty, perseverance, and leadership during one of America's darkest hours. The reverse shows two wheat stalks surrounding the words, 1 cent, symbolizing abundance and prosperity, a hopeful vision for a nation desperately needing it. The 1935 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint mark tells a different part of the story. Philadelphia coins were the most common, struck in the tens of millions. Denver and San Francisco coins, while still produced in large numbers, are much more desirable to collectors due to their relative scarcity. Collectors often look closely at these pennies for variations and errors. Some 1935 pennies display doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, which can significantly raise their value. These minting quirks are like little historical accidents that turn an ordinary coin into something far rarer and more valuable. During the 1930s, the cost of living was incredibly low compared to today. But even then, a penny had real buying power. Imagine walking into a store in 1935 and using this coin to buy a stick of gum, a piece of candy, or a portion of bread. That same penny that once purchased food for hungry families is now worth far more than its face value to collectors. Over time, the 1935 wheat penny has become a favorite among numismatists, not only for its availability, but also for its tie to a transformative period in American history. Unlike some rare coins that almost no one ever sees, the 1935 penny is still found in collections and occasionally even in circulation.